By the way, I feel bad. I never asked you how your love life is going.
After the success of the last video, I decided to do the same thing, but to move over to MJ5 instead of Pt.2 to farm Pandemic Horde. I was asked for the fit last video, so here it is applied for. It's built for maximum damage to be able to actually kill Ishtars when out hunting. I forgot I had a newt last time, but remembered to refit this time, but ended up never needing it anyways. I would usually recommend it, but for this type of content you either die to 40 people or you get out in time and the newt won't even come close to saving you anyways. The heavy assault missiles, web and disruptor all have similar ranges, with the addition of abyssal mods and the range rig, which makes using this fit a lot easier. Whilst in MJ5, I killed over a page worth of ships solo, and same with Pt.2. One of the days I was hunting MJ5, I'd killed a pretty high number within just 30 minutes, yet other times I would log in and there would be nothing out due to CTAs going on at the same time or similar things. Before I start, if you are one of the people flying the algos that I nuked a few times, email me in-game, I'll send some ISK your way. Whilst I show some of the footage, I'll be going over some pointers if you wish to do similar things, such as cloaky hunting, hunting Ishtars, or engaging opponents in the home systems. Number 1. This fit does really well at killing Vexes, but one fit that it does have some issues with are 100 MN fits. This applies to other ships too of course, but since a lot of Vexes are already 10 MN fit for whatever reason, I always tried to make sure that I was reloading to faction ammo wherever possible, to make sure that I could apply to cruiser sigs well, regardless of if it was overpropped or not. One thing to note, but that should already be known, remember to check fits for bulkheads if you feel like they are dying quickly when hitting their shields or their armor. It's a good sign that they are bait, which isn't uncommon at all. Number 2. For any Ishtars that you engage, you will 100% need to use Mjolnir rage ammo to even have a shot to kill them in time. Even then, there are Ishtar fits that can comfortably tank you for a very long time, but Mjolnir rage hams give you the best opportunity. It's partially why I chose the Loki, as it's able to hit the resist hull that is present in most ratting Ishtars, as they like to shield fit them. Number 3. The reason why it still struggles against Ishtars if they are fit properly is because of how drones work. You can't rely on mitigating their damage at all like you can with turrets. This is very evident during the Alliance tournament, where teams will have a Gila comp ready in case they need to smash an opposing team that has often been a frigate logi, as it can nuke frigates with their perfect application. Your only choice is to either outrun them or kill the opponent before their drones catch up to you and eventually start doing more DPS to you than you do to them. Number 4. One thing to note is that when you are out hunting, be sure to keep a lookout for abyssal traces if there isn't much activity. They can hold extremely valuable kills or complete junk. The first time I went over to investigate one of them, a single Tristan spawned, which was very disappointing. But later on a blinged out Ishtar spawned from a different one, likely running T5 or even T6 abyssals, which would have been a massive ISK value kill mail up to 3 billion ISK. But because of the bling and aforementioned drone damage and tracking, I couldn't quite kill it in time. Number 5. T2 cruisers are about all you are capable of engaging, or maybe Tier 1 battlecruisers. Faction and T2 battlecruisers, or any type of battleship, will likely eat you alive, as Tier 3 cruisers are still rather weak in terms of their raw stats after a nerf a few years ago, but are mainly still used for the utility. Number 6. Always try to warp to a site at 20 kilometers or more. This is because there are some sites that have a structure at 0 to 10 kilometers from the center, which will decloak you and trap you when you land, which can really suck. If the opponent is on the other side of the combat anomaly, just warp away to a safe again, or use your combat probes to scan them down and warp to them at 10 kilometers, so you can land close but just outside of scram range by the time you land. Be quick with recalling probes though, as you might be seen scanning and give away your intentions. Number 7. Remember to set characters you find to be baiting as red, so that you don't engage them again in the future. Very useful, as there are a few people who do nothing but sit in their staging systems and bait ships to tackle and blob roaming gangs and solos that come through the area. Number 8. On the note of bait, always be wary for potential bait ships, regardless of the ship in question. I'll show you why at the end of this video. Number 9. You can take on multiple Vexes and Vex and Navy issues with ease. You can even kill multiple Ishtars if you and they are positioned well enough. Although I wouldn't recommend trying to kill Ishtars if they are close together or their drones are close to you when you decloak. Number 10. Remember to stock lots of ammo, a mobile depot, and an armor rack so you can top up your armor if you take substantial damage and you don't have to restock ammo halfway through the hunt. Also remember to bring spare drones, as there's a high chance that you're going to leave at least a set or two behind at some point. Number 11. On the topic of drones, where most nano and solo enthusiasts will always use Minotaur drones as they have the highest speed, here you'll likely want to be using infiltrators, as they shoot into the Ishtar's EM hole, and don't really have much issues catching up with the Ishtars due to your web and their propensity not to fit a prop mod.
I'll see you down there. I am not leaving you here. John. I'm not coming with you this time.
realised it would sometimes feel more than whole, but the wholeness was a rather luxurious idea, because it's the halves that halve you in half. Don't know about the in-between bits, the gory bits of you and gory bits of me.
But